What up? It's Guru Jojo. In this particular video, I want to speak about the metaphysics behind disease, the spiritual meaning behind disease, the psychological components behind disease, or pathology, illness, becoming sick, pretty much. What this really is, it's simply a battle between freedom versus limitation, freedom versus putting up boundaries. That's the balance that we have to acquire in this lifetime in order to maintain health, or if there is an imbalance within these two components, this could ultimately lead to health problems. Freedom, okay? Freedom is basically the ability to be free from or unbounded to energy in a way, but more specifically unbounded to the more physical energies that's in this life, anything that we can possess, anything that's more tangible, right? That's why a lot of times people that are very detached and stuff, right, it seems like they just may live a more minimalistic lifestyle, like they don't need so much and whatnot. The more things we need, the more things we depend on in this lifetime, what happens is we begin to create these subconscious insecurities for ourselves, and this could be a detriment to our sense of well-being because it can actually have a negative impact on our mental state and our freedom of optimism, because this optimism now becomes dependent upon these possessions that we've secured ourselves onto. Besides that, disease in general is the inability to feel a sense of relaxation, to feel a sense of just not needing something, in a sense, just the inability to feel a sense of relief. And this would be for a continuous period of time, so not just a sudden sense of relief or anything like that, like a ongoing sense of relief. With that being said, once we feel bounded to the inability to feel a sense of relief, this is what produces stress. We start to feel a sense of distress and we become stressed out. And then as long as we feel contained within that emotional stance of insecurity, of too much energy being pent up in one particular area, this is like that energy of like a grudge, almost like this is like a grudge where you literally are frozen and locked in a particular area, and this area creates feelings of discomfort and insecurity. And then what happens is, anytime an experience, a conversation, a situation, a connection with anything of any sort kind of pokes, it can even just be a little glide against that energy, that stressful, frozen energy that was created, that karma, right? It causes extreme irritation and annoyance, right? It's weird because what happens is these karmic, frozen karmic energies, this stress bubble, it's not even like a bubble, because a bubble I imagine is soft, the longer that you hold on to an energy that is negative, the harder it becomes to break. So come up with a metaphor for yourself, but it's like a stress tumor or something. Okay, as soon as it becomes in contact with something else, it causes irritation, and then this further impacts the rest of your body and the way that your body is functioning, and this is what ultimately starts creating illness and disease and whatnot. So the continuous process of poking at that energy that was created from the stress, and then it thus starts to mess with other energy in your body, right? These stress tumors, or whatever you want to call them, these energy setbacks, they're also what is similar to a limitation. that energy becomes crystallized. You want to be more aware of what you crystallize. You know what I'm saying? It's good to crystallize things that are going to be a benefit for us. It's obviously not as good to be crystallizing things that are going to cause us problems in our lives. And a lot of times we are unaware of the subconscious patterns that we partake in by not acting with freedom, with forgiveness, without learning from our experiences, which is one of the best ways to actually install freedom and forgiveness, is to actually learn the details behind your experiences and thus gain enlightenment. And that enlightenment allows you to see the broader perspective of your experiences, and it detaches you from creating a grudge, which these grudges plant karmic seeds. I'm telling you, that's what causes disease. We're having these experiences, things are created more easily because of the family we're brought into, the lineage that we're carrying and whatnot. And these stresses then are expressed depending upon, that karma that we were brought down with. But in general, we have to crystallize these energies. So this is where the concept of freedom versus limitation come up, because as long as we're able to be free enough, we're always able to free ourselves from the limit, free ourselves from the karmic seed that we've grown within us, right? The grudge. Or you can essentially maintain a limitation so much that you keep growing the grudge or growing the karmic seed that's giving you a disease or an illness. So that's why there has to be a balance between the boundary and the freedom from the boundary. And the best way to do this is through implementing a free lifestyle in some way on a day-to-day basis. But again, this comes with having discipline, having boundaries, or else too much freedom ultimately causes disease. Remember, I said it has to be a balance. Too much limitation ultimately causes disease. Again, I apologize for those fan noises that are in this video. That's my computer. I make music, right? So I do a lot on this computer. Boom, boom, boom. I think I already went over that. But I also apologize for the music that's playing in the background. That's my neighbors. I don't party. Ain't nothing wrong with it, though. Be free. Know your boundaries, though. Back to the vid. If you're too free, you allow yourself to pick up too much energy, and you're not Superman. I don't care how strong you think you are, how spiritual you think you are, to allow yourself to feel that way. But your body can only overcome so much energy. When you're too free, you expose yourself to so much that you can ultimately cause yourself to become sick, because you over exhaust yourself pretty much. Now, on the other hand, when you are free just enough, you allow yourself to be exposed to particular energies that could potentially be harmful for you, but since you were exposed to it, you allowed your body to adapt to that experience. And thus, if you end up coming across a similar experience in the future, you can be able to combat it with no problem. Now, on the other hand, if you have too much limitation, too many boundaries, if you're too disciplined, you prevent yourself from being able to experience particular energy, and thus you are less able to combat it in times where your limitation is no longer working. If your discipline is not enough to block out something, and now you're being exposed to particular energies that your body is feeling that is completely foreign, your energy is not used to this at all, you now cause yourself to have more potential to become sick, ill, or catch some sort of disease. Now, if you have just the right amount of limitation in your life, right, then you allow yourself to prevent harmful energy from invading your personal space. So you see, it's like, that's the balance. We want to have enough limitation and boundaries and discipline in our life in order to prevent energy from invading our personal space, but we also want to have the right amount of freedom in our lives in order to have some exposure to these harmful energies so that we can be more prepared and improvise in our life in the case where we need to face a situation, like be combative for whatever particular reason. So that's the main things I wanted to talk about in this particular video. Thank you for watching. Blessings, light, and love. Peace out.